Welcome back to the Live Worthy podcast, where we equip and urge you to live worthy of the calling you've received, for you have been called by God. I'm so excited about this episode because I am with the funniest man that I know, and it is my husband. I think he makes me say that. No, I'm just kidding. But I will say that if he wouldn't be upset if I talked about another man, unless I said that another man is funny, then you get
true.
Real jealous.
I do get jealous about that. That's the only thing.
Yeah. He just wants my laughter to only come from his jokes. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I really just wanted to invite you on the podcast so we could talk about our dinner plans.
Okay, great.
Yeah. We don't really have any other time to talk about what are we going to have for dinner.
I already took something out of the freezer, so
Perfect.
I have you covered.
Thank you. So really what we wanted to talk about was kind of our story, introducing our listeners and viewers to the story behind all that God has done through Worthy. And I have a few questions I want to ask you as well. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay.
Questions about our story that I've probably never asked you, just to get your perspective on.
Perfect.
Because most of the time, I'm the one, I'm the louder voice, right? You're a man of fewer words.
That's true. You get the microphone more often than I do. But whenever I'm asked, I always answer honestly.
That's true. Yeah. You talk a lot for work too.
Oh, yeah. I'm a realtor, as you may know. And so I'm always on the phone and talking with clients. And so at home, maybe I may have run out of words.
Yeah,
to use, true. And that's okay.
Which is great because I always have more of them. And so our story is pretty crazy. We both were realtors, and we met through real estate. And I was married before you were dating somebody, and we were working together. And my story was that, my life, I was trying to live for Jesus, but I was in a really difficult marriage. And you were this person that was like this bright light, and it wasn't, you were so steady and easy to be around. Nothing really rattled you. And that was something that was attractive to me, actually, even though I was married. Was not what the Lord would have wanted, but you just won me over with kind of your nature. And I remember we had gone on a couple double dates, and one day you said to me, do you remember what you said?
I think I said, I don't like the way he treats you.
Yeah. And I was like, nobody had ever said that. And you hadn't even known me for very long, but you could see what was happening kind of under the surface just by virtue of being near us. So that was, we actually started having an affair after that. It wasn't what God wanted, but that was, we made some mistakes. I divorced my husband, and I wasn't sure how close we were. I wasn't sure what it meant to you at all, right? What this thing that was happening meant to you. But after my divorce, we had a plan. Do you remember? We were going to we didn't want anybody to know what had happened before. Because we were ashamed. And so we were like, okay, well, we'll play it cool, let the divorce settle, and then we'll come back and let people know we're dating, because we were working together and we had to let HR know and all these things. And so we were going to just give a little bit of time. Such a master plan we had. Ugh. So, but we were in our 20s. What did we know? Right? Nothing. We were just idiots. And so meanwhile, I get pregnant. Not a part of the plan.
Surprise.
Surprise is right. It was quite a surprise look on your face. We went to the doctor, and I think I saw your first gray hair. It was all of a sudden, there we are, and the reality hits of everything we had been doing. And I was like, who am I? I don't even know who I am. And certainly I didn't think you could know me, because I was living a wreck in a double life and talking about Jesus to you and then doing all of this other stuff. It was just, I was a mess. And I kind of pulled back a little bit, because I wasn't sure what you expected of me, having like being pregnant and us not being married and us never really having a real conversation about our future. What was going on in your mind at that time?
Oh, well, if you remember, I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It was too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah.
I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving. And so what was going through my mind? I would say I was going from a boy to a man very quickly, like playing boy games or immature games. And then finding out you were pregnant was like, okay, life just got real fast.
Yeah.
So I felt insecure about who I was and if I would be able to take care of a baby. I didn't grow up around babies, so like a baby might as well have just been an alien. I don't know, what do you even, how do you hold a baby?
Yeah, you would never change a diaper.
I've never
held
changed
a baby.
a diaper before, and so it was new territory.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure, like, faith-wise, if you were wanting me to have an abortion or what your thought process was. So I was just, like, kind of pulled back, like I said, and really did some soul searching. And in the midst of that, I in the middle of the night, cried out to Jesus and prayed, like, the most honest prayers I've ever prayed. And not knowing what you would say, not knowing if you would leave me or if you, what you wanted to do. And then one night we were finally needed to make some decisions because a couple weeks had passed. And I told you, like, hey, I'm going to have this baby and you can have whatever participation in its life that you want to have. If you don't want to be here, that's fine. But this is what I know the Lord wants me to do. And to my surprise, you were like, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And so then you asked, like, what do we do next? And so next was the difficult part, really, because we had to go to my parents who did not like you at all.
I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving.
That's
just
right.
a few weeks earlier.
Yeah. And now here we are, and coming for a different reason now. They had met you one time, I think. So, but they didn't know anything that had been going on before. And they were already, like, so upset about the divorce. Like, divorce didn't happen in my family. I was like, it just wasn't a part of our conversation. I grew up very, in a faith-based environment. So it was just not even a consideration. So it was already enough for them to be like, what is happening with our daughter? So we came to my parents' house. I remember it was a Thursday night and I was terrified. And I told you, like, you have to do all the talking to my dad or he will not respect you at all. How did that feel going in? What was that like for you?
I was very naive, I think. I was living the way of the world before we got together at all, really. And I didn't grow up in the church environment. And so purity and all of that as a teenager and going through college wasn't a part. So I was already coming in thinking I knew what was best anyways. And so I think I had more confidence than I should have had, probably.
Oh, it's good to know. So we came in, my mom was playing Dance Revolution. Do you remember that?
I love her.
I know. She's so funny. So she had no idea why we were coming over. And then we share this story with them. Not sure what they're going to say, but basically you're asking for my hand in marriage. You're like, I want to marry her and we'll make this right. And we're sorry. And you shared it all beautifully. And I just remember sitting there, like, freaking out in my head. Like, they could say anything and they could stay away from us for a long time and never receive you as a son, or like I messed up so bad. And as we sat there, my dad spoke first and he said, this is not what we would have wanted for you, but we bless you, we receive you, we forgive you, and we welcome you, Mickey, into the family. And we can't wait to meet our newest grandbaby. I was shocked. Like, I really thought I deserved anything else that they would have given me besides grace. What did that feel like for you?
Knowing now,
Yeah.
Knowing them now and how much they love the Lord, and just how much they love all their kids. I could look back now and see how hard that was. It was hard and easy at the same time because of how much your dad just loves the Lord and how he's just a good picture of what Jesus is like. And so that as a first example, me having been away from the Father and leading my own path, I think that's a good like stamp on, okay, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
What a great example.
Yeah, he is. That changed everything for us really from that point on. That was a marked moment for us. I remember thinking, if my father on earth could love me like that, how much more does my heavenly Father? And living in that realization has really changed my life and ours as a family. That we lost that baby 4 days later. But my whole family was there, and they wouldn't have been. So I know that child served a very important purpose in our lives. And we did get married 6 weeks later.
We did.
We are now married 18. Oh, are you high-fiving me? Yes. Yeah. And so we've been married 18 years faithfully to each other.
Yes.
And never looked back, really. We landed in a new place and launched from there. So, it's not, I don't think it was the intended story of the Lord. That's not, but he took all the things that we did and were foolish in, and he made them something beautiful, even including our 3 girls that we have. So there's this thing that we do every anniversary that we've done for years and years and years. And that is, and we're going to do it today.
Okay.
That is that we ask each other on a scale of 1 to 10, what is our marriage like for you right now? So
today.
Go ahead.
Okay,
today,
I'll go first.
Today,
so we just got back from a missions trip to Africa where
Yeah.
we were together for 14 days straight. I love quality time and physical touch, and we were very close on the plane the whole time. So I am a 10 out of 10. I'm feeling great right now. Serving the Lord together, being close to you. I'm at a 10 out of 10. Most of the time, I'm a 10. That's just how.
So easy going. It's great.
That's how it goes. The men are always on the higher whenever we ask couples that we're meeting with.
Yeah.
The men are always higher than the women.
Yeah.
It's pretty common.
That's true. Yeah.
But right now, I'm riding that marriage high, baby.
All right. I love it. I love it. I think ours is, I'm up there. I love serving. I love seeing you in those environments on missions trip. Cause when I told you that day, I was 16, I had gone on a missions trip and the Lord told me I would be a missionary. So when we're in my room that night and we're talking about the plan of our life, and I was like, I've got to tell my parents, the next thing I told you was, by the way, the Lord called me to be a missionary. I think that's going to be important for you to know if you want to marry me. And your response was so great. You were like, all right.
I had no idea what that means or meant. Still not really, but I'm in. I like adventure. It sounds a bit like an adventure. I like adventures.
Yeah.
Fun things outside. Seems like they would be outside often.
Yeah. So you're just easy peasy. After we got married, I was unlearning a lot of stuff that I had learned in my first marriage. And it was your first marriage. You had it was all new for you. But I had a lot to unlearn about how to negotiate the environment of being married. And I remember this one day I was trying to pick a fight with you. And I don't know if you remember this, but you said the most amazing thing that just stopped me in my tracks. And
ready.
You were like, hey, I'm on your team. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I was trying to fight with my teammate, which meant that one of us was going to lose, and neither one of us were meant to lose. We were both meant to win in marriage. And your response was so holy, even though you weren't even sure at that point if you had been if you were saved. Like, this was all things that would come out a couple of years later as we started going to church and as we started living a life of faith. You understood some things that had happened to you in your teenage years was actually you giving your life to Jesus. And so that to me was like kind of who you've always been in our marriage. Just this very steady, this very like, come to me. You don't have to, we're not going to have strife or division between us. We're going to be a unified team. I'm on your side. I'm on your team. What is that? Do you think that's your personality, or where does that come from?
On your team personality?
Yeah. Like how that you could just say that so freely and with such confidence. Like, it was such a leadership strategy. And I don't think maybe you realized it at the time, but it was like leading me into a new place of understanding what marriage is really meant to look like.
I don't think I ever, with my previous relationships, ever was manipulative towards them or tried to control them. I think, let them be them, let you be you, and support whatever that looks like until it starts to go whenever you're not being you. So you picking a fight was not Aaron being Aaron. It was off course. So maybe a course correction could be, you call it a course correction. What was the question?
Yeah.
Your eyes are so pretty.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, you make me laugh so hard. I think that was it, a course correction, but it didn't feel like correction. It just felt like, come here. You forgot who you are. And that has been, we have 3 daughters now. Like, you grew up with brothers and now you're surrounded by all my sisters, 2 moms that, my mom and your stepmom and all these daughters. So there's constantly girls in our house.
That's true.
Right? They bring all their girlfriends over, and I have all my friends over, and you're just like this very constant, non-manipulative, so regulated in your emotions. And it makes it really easy it just always feels safe and like restful whenever I'm with you. So yeah, I guess I don't even realize, I don't think I realized what a strength that was. It was just so endeared me to you, because we think of safety and protection in these ways of like a very masculine thing that's, testosterone driven and all this stuff. But you have created for me and our family a safe place of honor and correction that feels like love. And when I think about that verse in Ephesians that says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Like, you are a picture of that to me. Do you find that what drives that in you? I guess how did this come about for you?
So as you know, my mom passed away whenever I was 16. And so losing her at a young age, I had to grow up quickly. But also I had this value of like, life is short. Time is short. We don't know how long we have with the ones that are in front of us. So going back to your picking a fight thing, like we're on the same team, it's not worth it. We only have a little bit of time. And so that verse in the Bible that says, lay your life down for your wife. Like, how do I lay my life down for my family? It's not killing myself. It's killing my wants, killing my desires, killing my selfish things in order to let our little ones flourish. And it's a joy. You think I would like to go golfing every weekend or want to go fishing every weekend, and part of me does, but there's also a consequence to that of me being out of the house or time or money spent where it could be in different areas. And so for me, it's a joy now looking back on it, and it still is now. Also a joy to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. One time I remember we were on vacation or something, and we were like walking or maybe riding bikes and looking at all of these like crazy expensive, beautiful houses on the water. And we were like dreaming. I'm like, wouldn't that be cool to live in this house and blah, blah. And I remember you just like saying, Aaron, we could have had that. We could have had that, but we would have sacrificed this. And I was like, man, we chose better. You chose better. You chose, you could have, because I've watched friends and people that we have known in the past, like pursuing these things. And it's not wrong, right? But there is that you chose something, you pursued something that is holy. And I've watched you pursue us over, not just one time, but pursue our girls, pursue me continuously. And it's like that's why I can absolutely say that you're my favorite person, and I feel safe, and you're so trustworthy. Even given our past, like that you would be so trustworthy to me is really like it's just remarkable how God can take somebody who wasn't faithful or who made bad choices and then turn all of that and make it characteristic of them, like this place of honor and elevation and all of that. So
I'm going to come on here every week. This is really making me feel good about myself. So thank you.
You're not even like a words of affirmation person.
I'm becoming that.
Oh, okay, great.
And quality time right now.
Yeah, that's true. We just get to talk. So we do have these 3 girls, and we're teaching them how to live worthy. And you're talking about how we live worthy, just in how we're safe for one another and all of those things. Could you talk about what it means for you as a husband to have a wife who is in these leadership positions, who is a little bit more talkative, who has sort of, at church, I'm on stage a lot or whatever. Like, what does that mean? Because most people look at a couple like us, and if I'm loud or whatever, they make assumptions about our marriage, or they might think that call you weak because of just that's what they want to do. I don't know why. But what would you say to those comments?
So I would say for me personally, God has given me this gift of having all these women. I lost my mom. And so I have all these women around me. And so I have a special anointing, if you want to call it that, or a special assignment where it is easy for me. I don't have an ego to be able to, I don't feel left out whenever you're on stage, whenever the girls are performing, or they're dancing, or they're doing their short sermons. Like, I'm cheering them on more than anybody, because as an individual, they are doing what God has called them to do. And so how can I go against that?
I think maybe that's the most remarkable thing, is when for you to say I have no ego. There's a thing about you too, like you don't have an ego. You are very humble, but you also have like this confidence that I've had to learn how to have. And I don't know how you have it so naturally, but you're just like, I'm not going to worry about what other people say. And I've had to learn how to let go of criticism or accusation or thinking constantly about what people think of me. And I've grown a lot, but I've mostly grown by watching how you navigate criticism and what people may or may not think of you.
So I think, like, if you've heard me sing, I may not have perfect pitch. Maybe, I don't know. But I do make a joyful noise. But I feel like if I did have perfect pitch, that if I was not using my gift of perfect pitch to glorify the Lord, I would be out of his will. So if God has given me less of an ego or more patience, that same gift that he has given me, I'm able to use that. It may not be at a spotlight position, but I'm still using my gift in the best way that I can, which is all these women around me.
That's amazing. So 2 words that you would use. We're going to play a game. I'm going to say 2 words that I would use to describe you.
Okay.
And I didn't think about this before. I only wrote the question down.
Okay.
And 2 words you would use to describe me.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, go.
I would describe you as fierce tenderness.
Oh, I love that.
I saw this, like a picture of you with like a shield and a sword on like one side, like standing strong. But like also like this image of you bending down low, that you're protecting like a child. So it's like you know how it's blurred, it's kind of like blurred into one. I'll draw it for you later. You know how good I am as an artist. Fierce.
You're
tenderness.
so amazing. I'm glad I married you. Okay, my 2 words. Now I feel bad for going. Yours is so much better. This is why I've said we could never go on a show, like a reality TV show, because what would happen is everybody would fall in love with you. And then I would say something stupid and they would be like, what is this guy doing with her? She is such an idiot. So anyway, I refuse to answer now. No, I'm just kidding. I would say who you are is a protector and a kindness. You have a kindness, a compassion about you. I don't know how you can do both so well, but I think for men, you are such a beautiful example to me of what it means. One time, I want to tell this story because this was like when people ask about how do you submitting to their husbands, and there's like all submission is like a big bad word for people sometimes until you see and recognize what submission looks like. We were on a missions trip, and in this church, they had all of the seats up at the front of the podium for all of the leaders that were coming. And you and I were the pastors leading this team. And so when we arrived, they said, please come up here and sit. But they didn't mean me, they meant you. And you were holding my hand and you told them, I'm not going to go sit there unless my wife is welcome. And they said, we don't do that here. And he said, then I'll sit, and you said, then I'll sit down here with her. And I was like, I will follow that man anywhere because he is willing to lay his life down. He's willing to protect who I am, honor me no matter what it costs you. And I've told that story many times as just a place of like, it's really easy to submit to somebody who leads you with honor and respect and love and doesn't count their life as more precious than yours. And you have always done that for me. And so I was just so excited to tell our story with you, and so that everybody else could know the kind of man you are and how I don't think I could have a voice that I have without your strength and support with me.
You know that song about the riverbank? What song is that? How are the lyrics? Another thing you would not know about me is that I am very bad at lyrics.
He's very bad at lyrics.
And that's why I'm not on the worship team. Not only my pitch, but also I can't remember the words. But there's the song that about
the banks to your river.
Yes. What are the words to that? That's a great example of how to...
Yeah. Hold you close, but never hold you back.
That's it.
Hold the banks to your river.
Yeah, I want to hold you close, but never hold you back. So that is what I think about our kids and you. I want to hold them close, but never hold them back. So I'm always here if you need me.
Steady as the day is long. I love you. Thanks for being here. You're the best.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. I love you too. Thanks for joining us on the Live Worthy podcast. It was a great one. The most safe and at ease I've felt so far. We'll see you next time. I'm going to have you back, I think.
Every time.
Yeah. Just sitting next
to me. I feel great after this.
Okay, great. Bye.